Today is December 9th, 2025, and I wanted to come online here with you guys to speak even further from my heart. I don't know why I continue to come on here to spill my guts out to individuals who care or don't care whether or not if they need to hear whatever I'm about to say. I don't even know what I'm about to say myself, but here I go anyway. I just separated from a long-term love interest, and I feel like I'm doing myself disjustice by not speaking out my heart about whatever my heart needs to say or to disclose. And I know it's not warranted, but I wouldn't be Nico if I didn't further push the envelope. But here I am. I've been in love with a woman that saw me for me back in 2018. Her and I met in Sunnyvale, California. And it was on a bunny farm. And honestly, don't care who hears the story or not, but it's out there anyway for people who already do know. But I went there to meet somebody, and totally unexpected. It was like divine intervention. I asked a friend of mine at the time to see if there's an extra spot open, if there's any extra space for an extra person to be there, which would be myself. This person reached out to me in order to tell me, saying, hey, yeah, come on down before we go to another location. I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I was already at the second location before going to the bunny farm. So that day forever changed my life. I was super anxious, super nervous, but also the happiest I've ever been ever since my children were born, like holding my children for the first time kind of feeling. And it was that level of excitement for me. And when I had the honor and humble and wholesome appreciation with all of my being in order to be where I was at upon this bunny farm, I helped out her sister clean out a portion, exchanging out the hay out of the bunny houses and feeding the bunnies, tending to the bunnies, getting to know her sister, and just speaking amongst other people. Everybody was vibing, everybody's just cool, calm, and collected, and it's a very therapeutic experience to be able to go out of my way in order to meet someone, not only someone that I was personally interested in, because that wasn't my first and foremost thought of going there, in order to meet this individual that I unexpectedly fell in love with when I first locked eyes with her. And I get done cleaning the bunny houses and everything, and get done talking to other people, and I found myself leaning over the pig pen, like over the rail, the wooden railing of this pig pen. And I was going through a very dark time that year, going through my second divorce, and like, this is right before COVID even happened or even hit, and I was already in a dark place. Like, I really needed some type of sort of light to enter into my my field of vision, and sure enough, there she was across the farm, and she was standing right next to the barn, and her tomboyish look and everything else like that, and she was looking at me. She was peering over to me, and this is like not until after I noticed that she was peering over to me, and before I even got a chance to look up, I just had a feeling like somebody was looking at me, and sure enough, it was her. And without even with me being able to take a couple of steps towards her direction, because it was her sister, I was like, this is like the reason why I'm here, in order to meet her and her sister. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not trying to like shoot my shot. I'm not trying to be a dog of any kind, and being myself and in awe of her sight, and my jaw drops, and I take a couple of steps in her direction. She's already by my side. Like, she walked past all these other people in order to make it over to me, and the first thing that comes out of her mouth is, "Hey, I really like your tattoo." And she says, "Oh, that's really hot." Like, and I was like, "Oh, it's kind of faded, but thank you." And she's like, I find faded tattoos really hot. And I'm like, well, maybe that was just her being nice, or it could be even coming off, flirtatious in a way. And I'm like, I'm in awe. Like, I ask her how she's doing, and she asks me how I'm doing, and she tells me on how appreciated that I'm there, and that it's so good to meet me. And I said, it's really awesome to meet you too. And even though there wasn't a lot of context there in our first interaction with each other, it was in that moment when I looked into her eyes, and I fell in love immediately. Everything about her, and not just in her eyes, but just the energy and the aura of everything in that very moment. Time stood still for me, and I knew that I couldn't go any further with it because I was still married at the time. And I know in the past I told stories about how my ex-wives, did what they did to me, and how my house was already falling down in shambles in the first place, and it had nothing to do with her, right? Nothing to do with her. So even though I didn't do anything physical, I didn't do anything inappropriate, but I guess in Jesus' eyes, that I've committed adultery in the energetic sense, in the spiritual sense. But my wife at the time was at home doing whatever she was doing, even when she wasn't home. And having a newborn baby and everything else like that, and a year into the marriage, it was still brand new and more rebound than anything else. And not to downplay about my love for my second wife, right? But I was already still trying to recuperate from my first divorce, my first marriage at that, and let alone marrying someone that I barely even knew, let alone just knowing my girlfriend slash fiance slash wife all at once within a period of 6 to 9 months, just as long as it took her to get pregnant within the first couple of months. So it was very quick. Very quick. I'm not even going to lie about that, but I just really feel like it was right in that moment, and all my worries, all my stresses, and everything else went away when I first locked eyes with her. And ever since that day, it's just been my heart's appeal to pursue this, to go down this road of following my heart and what's right. And not there shortly after that, I went out of my way to file for divorce because I knew that my second wife didn't love me like how I loved her. And sure, I fall in love really easy, and trying to save whatever pride and ego and integrity that I have left over of whatever was quote unquote love in that relationship, and try to work through things, go to marriage counseling and everything else like that. And I was worried about money all the time. She was worried about me being home all the time, and us arguing about money, and me not ever being home because of working long hours and never being able to have enough money because I was going out of the house in order to follow this woman that was not my wife. And I take accountability, and and I can't be a hypocrite about that either, that I was pursuing a woman that wasn't my wife. And I have no regrets. I wish that I can and have already apologized to my second ex-wife about being honest about my shortcomings there, and already having that conversation a long time ago. Being, officially divorced back in 2022, but legally separated back in 2019 because the courts were closed in California and everything, so I couldn't exactly legally get divorced because the courts were closed for a couple of years, and paperwork and everything else like that. So it's like, why am I even here, like, getting online to even explain any of this to anybody? And even though I'm just kind of giving the highlights of what was going on with me and what was going through my mind, and even before then, like finding this woman that I met in Sunnyvale, California on the bunny farm. And it was sometime when I first got into my first marriage is when I wanted to pursue the same woman that I met back in 2018. And I know that sounds a little bit weird, and first finding her online on YouTube and everything else like that, but I feel like the more that I'm open about this and the more that I explain myself or try to make sense of everything was leading me back to her. And not because of anything else, not because of her influence or anything else like that, or her position in life. Just, it was like a magnet that was pulling me towards her, and it felt right, it seemed right, and everything was right. And I don't believe in self-sabotage at all, but a couple of days ago, I direct messaged her and told her that this will be the last time that you're ever going to hear from me, because I'm tired of being gaslighted, and you would rather hold up an image rather than accepting what's rightfully yours. And it's just really hard to come to an end of the road, a path that I thought was mine, that was ours ever since the day that we met, and how I went out of my way in order to do everything that I could for this woman. And it just felt like I could never do enough. I always felt like that something was missing, because I guess it was my lack of confidence, my lack of courage. I was afraid of the rejection. I was afraid of fear itself, and her rejecting me. And when we met that day in 2018, my entire world just got flipped upside down and then recreated, and I felt like an entire new person. I felt reborn. I felt saved. I felt like I was home. And I really wish that she could know on how much that feeling still means to me, even though after she decided to go her own way and I decided to go my own way too. So this is only like about, I don't know, day 2 or 3 of us not being energetically linked, and even though there's a remnants of her energy that still surrounds me, and I'm like trying to convince myself, like, okay, well, I already made my decision, and she kind of, put her stamp seal of approval there by blocking me, so it's like I really didn't have a choice, even if I wanted to try to go back on what I said to her. And I just wish whoever finds this video can understand, as long as I have tried to be there for somebody, she knows her boundaries and her limits on how much she's able to give to other people as well. The certain level of bandwidth that people are able to give other people, especially when she's running her own business, and I'm over here trying to, stay afloat for many years. And besides traveling and trying to be with this woman in person, and me trying to show her the unconditional love that I wish I would receive from her too. And for a while that unconditionality was reciprocated, but to what extent? And I always thought of her in a deeper sense, in a more deeper empathic way, with a certain run-ins here and there, not just with her but with her family too. So I even made it sure with one of her relatives that if it was okay for me to meet up every once in a while, whether it was at the market or whatever the case might be. And sure enough, the family member said it was okay. That was more than welcome, that I'm not intruding, that I'm not being suspicious or stalkerish, you know what I mean? And I was welcome into the space more than once. And the more that my feelings for her grew, and the more reinsurance that I, received from the people around her that love her and know her and were safeguarding her heart, that they were getting to know me as much as I was getting to know them too. So a lot of people will call me obsessed, a lot of people call me delusional, a lot of people try to convince me everything that I think happened never happened, and it was all just an illusion made up in my head and stuff like that. I know what I know, and I know what I've gone through these extreme emotions. While spiritists would explain to me that what if it was for life lessons or life experience or twin flame connections, that there was something out of this whole life experience that I was supposed to learn, and I think that I learned while I'm still energetically holding on to these energies as I'm explaining this to you guys. Because, and the main reason why I'm coming here explaining this to you guys is because the love was real, really real, from my point of view and from my perspective. Oh, while I can't speak for her or her point of view. And the reason why that I keep coming back online to talk about this is because I need people to understand that this isn't just a facade or anything made up. And why is it so important for me to have to get online to explain this to anybody, is because we're all souls living this human experience, and human emotions and feelings can get very chaotic and very messy really easily, especially whenever words are being misunderstood or misinterpreted. And I know that I'm more than ready and more than capable to be that man for the love of my life one day. And if not one day, even then before. Having the same exact mindset, but in more of a mature body and a more mature state of mind and being. But there was something that was missing, and it was our direct communications. And all while I knew that this individual that I'm talking to you guys about has indirect attachment. It's very late at night. I just got off a 10-hour shift, so avoidant attachment personality trait. And having to be in a energetic committed relationship, even though there's no dating, there's no going on individual dates, there's no back and forth communications, even though the energies and everything else were aligning, that was good enough for me. Whether it was the body language or eye contact or self-expression in her ways, the way that she likes to express herself is what she's comfortable doing, and how much she does it was up to her, and I let that energy reign for whatever and however it wanted to express itself. And a moment there that my energy was a little bit overbearing or over analytical or over controlling in that way, or even passive, that I learned how to ease up and back off and not to be so love bombing, and this is just me reminiscing back on the memories and me not trying to escape from my previous marriages. Because if you guys understood, refer to my Purple App video that I made a couple days ago explaining my experiences with both of my ex-wives was very traumatic for me, and the greatest levels of betrayal, and the reasons why I acted the way that I did. And the reasons why I had to divorce my ex-wives because of infidelity on their part. And my infidelity only came after the fact, because I knew that my wives didn't love me the way that I knew how they should have loved me, and what they weren't doing to love me through actions. They would say it through words all the time, but not through actions. I was just another paycheck in that sense, but very good relationships with both my ex-wives. It's just, why do I feel it to be necessary to put my life business out on the internet? Is because whether or not, if she sees this video, that I know that I did everything in my power in order to do right by her and live right by her and be there for her, but something was just telling me that it was falling short once again. That the type of love that I was giving out and pouring out to her, I wasn't receiving back the way that I was hoping to receive that love in return. And I got a bunch of hate comments, bully comments, a couple of death threats. And I knew that those kind of things would come from other people who know of this woman and know about my feelings towards her. So I understand self-preservation and protecting herself and everything else like that, and what is she protecting herself from? And I'm not a violent person at all. Like, I would never do anything to anybody for that matter, for that any reason whatsoever. We all go through our motions and our modalities, and for anyone who does know me, who's watching this video right now, needs to understand, as a collective, we all bargain and we all agreed upon to different relationships. And it sucks to come to terms with that, and it sucks to have to wait upon other people to say, yeah, you can go ahead and be considered. But shouldn't I be a known factor? Shouldn't I be 110% certain? And which I still am. And I'm kind of getting lost in the sauce in my words right now. Trying to gauge my own feelings and emotions right now. Running on 2 or 3 hours of sleep. I know that she knows, and she knows that I know, and it doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I probably will never know. I probably won't ever know. Now that I said what I said to her, and the reasons why that she blocked me is because I said what I said to her about confronting her about how I felt like and she was treating me. And that I deserve so much better than that. But that's me self-preservation talking. That's me protecting my heart right now. I'm 32 years old, going on 33, and she's not that much older than me. And we grew up in two different worlds altogether. I get that. And accepting what is and what is not. It is what it is, and it's going to take me a while to get past this, even though I said that I'm happy the other day with Allah and how he's protecting both her and I and anyone else involved, and what is there to protect from? Like, why is any protection even needed, spiritually and energetically speaking? And why did things have to come to the way that they came to? It's because she ultimately chose to block me. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I just have to accept it for what it is and what it's worth, and what she's indirectly saying to me. Whether or not if it's a temporary block, or to shut me up, or to leave her alone. Her telling me that, she no longer feels for me. I don't know. I'll never know. But the very fact that I fall in love so quickly, it takes me a while to fall out of love, if that makes any sense. And I think that's what makes me a great soul and a great person, that I have that much level of dedication towards the person that I'm interacting with. And the very fact that I had a major sign of deja vu today when I was sitting at work, staring at a mini Christmas tree decoration hanging on the wall underneath the clock. When the clock struck 11:11, I had a huge epiphany, and having that very vision moment period in time when I was sleeping years ago. So God, Allah, is probably telling me that I'm on the right direction in my spiritual path, the path that I need to continue pursuing, whether it's with or without her, and focus on me and continue to work on myself, and not focus in getting in another relationship, especially if I say and feel the way I still do about her, even though after she's blocked me, that some of the things I've said, isn't to go out of my way to be passive or to hurt her or to get back at her, which is none of the above. But I think I was very mature and very forthcoming about how I felt when I was communicating those things to her. And I guess it's just an emotional reaction that came from her, so she blocked me. So I'm going to continue living on. I'm not going to give up on love just because I said to other people, like, damn, wow, I wasted the last 10 years of my life trying to pursue a woman just to get blocked at the end of it. And extreme, huge ups and downs with emotions. And a couple days ago, I know that I said to you guys that I'm ecstatic, that I'm very happy that I can finally be free. But did I really mean that for the sanity of being free of the gaslighting, or being free of feeling delusional or crazy all the time, like I'm beside myself because this individual refuses to acknowledge me, or let alone reciprocate, or let alone be direct with me in any way, shape, or form, despite on how she feels that I was following my own truth and authentic emotions, despite how people were treating me and talking to me, and death threats and bullying me and saying that I'm obsessed and calling me different names and whatnot. That maybe that I'm not the person she's looking for, the person to be with. Maybe I'm not exactly built exactly whatever her expectations are, if any, when it comes to love. But I know one thing for sure, that I'm going to love her until the end of time. And I mean that, and speak truly from the bottom of my heart. And I don't care how creepy that sounds when it comes to other people thinking that I should just unalive myself, let alone being banned from a certain community because they don't want me to even open up, even touch upon, or even speak about whatever I had to go through personally. That I should keep it behind hush hush, or behind closed doors, talk to a professional therapist or something about it, instead of coming online and talking about it. But this is my page, this is my channel, and I feel like I can try to explain things the best way that I know how, the way that I know that I can, without putting her on the spot. So, God, I loved her so much, and it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. None of it does. And I try not to get stuck on the why, God, or how, or when. I can only deal and do with what I have at my disposal. And I know that I'm not supposed to fix all the mysteries of this world in one lifetime. But here I am. And I don't regret that relationship whatsoever. So take this video for whatever it's worth. I don't think any of it's self-incriminating or putting her on the spot whatsoever, because I have nothing to hide. It's just, I'm a Marine veteran. I served 4 years honorable service, and another year honorable service on top of that in the reserves. And ever since I was a kid, I lived right by people, by the golden rule: treat others the way that you would like to be treated. Despite the type of household and upbringing I got raised in, I still lived right by others and continue to still do so to this day. I don't care how many people freaking laugh at me because I'm putting my heart on the line for a woman that I'm still very much so in love with. So it's like, the more that I say that out loud, the more that I feel like I'm embarrassing her for some odd reason. But I can't bring dishonor to myself or inauthentic with myself because I can't speak upon how I feel. Because I don't want to embarrass her or embarrass other people because of how I feel. And why should I ever be ashamed on how I feel for somebody? Let alone putting it on a public platform where anybody can view this. Why should it be any different? I feel like I'm walking a really blurred line right now, and I need to be careful because I don't want anything legal to come out of this because I'm speaking about my own personal emotions and the ramifications that I might have because I'm speaking about my own emotions. Not that I did or said anything, anything that has to do with legal. But I also don't want to make her feel like I'm harassing her. You know what I mean? So, I guess that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening.